Okay, we got quite the chapter this week for My Hero Academia. We have our three characters, the trio, Todoroki, Bakugo, and Izuku, do a self-analysis. Even though it looks like Izuku was the only one to do it, you can fundamentally say all three characters in their own way, their own perspective, they self-analyze themselves to be able to try to better themselves. I really like this chapter. I don't think many will probably like this chapter if they don't care about these three characters, but if you have been paying attention to the character development from Izuku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, then you're really gonna fall in love with this chapter, because it really perfectly encompasses everything that Horikoshi-sensei has been doing for a very long time, with Bakugo as a character, Todoroki as a character, and Izuku. And so, let's get right into it. Let's get into our poster boy. Let's get into Izuku, because he was the first one to start, and I guess I should start with him first. So, Izuku. He is asked by Endeavor, what is he trying to accomplish with this internship? You know, working with Endeavor. What is he trying to achieve? And basically, Izuku lays it all out there on the table. And most people would completely say, you're talking too much, holy crap, I can't follow this, etc. But Endeavor is someone that obviously isn't dumb by any means. He definitely proved this in the previous chapters of My Hero Academia, with him basically figuring out what Hawks was trying to say, with the army coming, etc. He is someone that's able to piece together things that are very obscure, so him being able to follow what Izuku is saying isn't really that far-fetched. So I do appreciate the level of intelligence that, you know, Endeavor has to be able to analyze all these three and what they really need to work on. So anyways, Izuku tries to explain himself. He's like, okay, my quirk. I need to be able to have maximum performance, mobility, and be able to kind of utilize things without really overloading myself. Now, at first, he loads a lot on Endeavor. He really does. But to get to the main point of it, Izuku is someone that has always had to put a lot of brain power into what he does in his fights. For instance, he needs to be able to figure out a way to maximize his power without constantly having to think about every little interval, because that is the big issue that he's currently facing, and it's something that's always been a part of his character since the very beginning. And as he continues to get stronger, as he continues to gain more and more abilities thanks to One For All, he's going to have the difficulty rise exponentially. And now with him getting like the Black Whip and all that, it makes things 2 times harder than it already was. Because let's look at it before he got Black Whip, okay? Let's look at his quirk before that, just having the raw strength of One For All. He was someone that obviously had to manage his strength output throughout his body. And we know, we all are very aware, if he exceeds a certain threshold of his power of One For All, his bones will literally snap like paper mache. It's one of the reasons why his arm is like it is. You know, it's the reason why he had to resort to using his legs to fight, etc. He's had to go through a lot of trial and error to be where he's at right now. And thanks to a lot of, you know, trial and error, he's managed to come to a certain point to where he can kind of manage to put power in certain segments of his body and then completely reduce it in an instant. And that's basically what's been going on with his character. Him trying to learn how to put a certain percentage in certain areas, like to cause air pressure, etc. That's what he's been progressing towards. But it takes a lot of mental processing to be able to do this on the fly. Like, okay, example. Him fighting Overhaul. This is, I think, the best example to give. Imagine if Izuku was going up against Overhaul right now, and he did not have Eri with him. Izuku would die. If he didn't die, it's because he had to go all in, 100%, and shatter every freaking bone in his body, like he did against Muscular, because there's no other way Izuku would be able to fight someone like Overhaul without just brute forcing, overwhelming him with raw power. He cannot put thought in his fight too much, or he would legitimately die, because that is how the crazy nature of certain fights can be. See, one thought too many. Thinking too hard can literally cost your life. Not thinking enough can also cost your life. And that's kind of the point here, is that if Izuku did not have Eri in his fight, he would have died, because Overhaul would have been able to read his moves, know what he's doing, because Izuku would be constantly thinking about, oh crap, I gotta do this, he's gotta multi-manage his power in certain areas, not to break his bones, etc. He would die. He would straight up die and not be able to put up any type of fight against Overhaul. So that's the point here, is that he needs to be able to somehow unconsciously have a threshold he can use his power with without really putting too much thought into it, and be able to kind of give maximum performance. Because now adding in Black Whip, it makes it even harder, because it's not him just kind of maintaining one for all and the threshold of certain power he has to have go throughout the entirety of his body. He now has to control not one, not two, not three, but multiple, like 7+ quirks. He has to be able to, you know, actually maintain and control the output of. And if he doesn't, it's a liability. So there's just so many issues here that Izuku is currently facing. And so he needs to be able to, like I said, he needs to be able to subconsciously use his power without having to put too much thought into it. He can use his mental processing for other things, figuring out what his opponent's going to do next, or figuring out, you know, how to use a certain ability in a certain situation. He doesn't need to be wasting time with figuring out, okay, I need to put 20% in this arm and all that, 100% in this arm. He doesn't need to be doing that. He doesn't need to be quickly shutting it off, putting it back on. He needs to have a better flow. His mind needs to be kind of open for other things. So yeah, I think Izuku perfectly self-analyzed his problem, what he needs to kind of overcome, and I'm pretty proud of Izuku as a character, but also Horikoshi even mentioning that. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal for his character, because it honestly is perfect setup for Izuku to fight someone like Shigaraki. And that's the point. That's the main point I want to get into now, since I talked about Overhaul. We all know how dangerous Overhaul was. Now think about Shigaraki. He's even more deadly than Overhaul could ever be, thanks to what has happened in the My Villain Academia arc. So imagine if Izuku had his mind all jumbled with how to output his power, etc., while fighting someone like Shigaraki that literally only needs to be around you to disintegrate you. He doesn't even need to touch you now. If you're just around the area of effect, he can disintegrate you. So, yeah, he doesn't have time to be thinking about what to do and how to output his power. So, this is definitely something he needs to overcome, definitely something that he needs to work on. And if he can kind of figure something like this out and get past it, then I think him being able to fight someone like Shigaraki won't be out of the realm of possibility. It's still going to be hella hard. I don't see how he's still going to be able to fight a man that can literally disintegrate, like, basically projectiles through the air, but also AoE effects, etc. So, I still don't know how Izuku's going to fight someone like that without regeneration or Eri. So, yeah, but that's not the point I want to get into. The point is, though, I'm glad Izuku said what he said. It needed to be done, and now we have, you know, an objective for his character, what he can actually achieve. When Endeavor's looking at Izuku's power, he's someone that has a power that's able to hurt himself. He's constantly injuring himself, etc. And Endeavor's kind of like his quirk has caused a great burn. It's hurt him a lot. And he's like, you're just like us. And you see Endeavor think about himself, but also he thinks about All Might. It's a big moment. Basically what he's saying is that to be a hero sometimes, a great hero, you're going to need to literally break your body to be able to do something. And that's kind of what Endeavor did in his last major fight. He had to literally break his body just to be able to bring down High End. So that's the similarity there. He's like, you have a rough future ahead of you, constantly hurting your body because of how your quirk's nature really is. So I do like that little detail that Endeavor threw in against Izuku and how he's very similar. Now, moving into the next character, we have Bakugo. Now, Bakugo, okay, we know in terms of quirk usage and fighting style, he's got it. He is definitely really versatile, and he's good at fighting. You know, you can't really say Bakugo isn't a good fighter. He's a hell of a good fighter. He's proved it time and time again how good he is. However, as I and many others have stated, and even people within the manga have stated, the biggest issue Bakugo has is his attitude, or at least him talking with the public, or talking with other heroes, etc. He needs to kind of somehow have a better image. And once again, as I said when this arc began, it's good for Bakugo to actually be here with Endeavor. Because Endeavor, when you think about his character, he's very similar to Bakugo. Like, in terms of how he was always in the shadow of All Might, he was someone that wanted to be number one, you know, he was really good with his quirk, obviously, he knew how to utilize it, but he wasn't the best in the public eye because he had a very rough personality, and when you think about Bakugo, he's very similar. He's literally identical to Endeavor, but as I have already said in my reviews, is that Bakugo will probably never go on the path Endeavor did because he's already had a quick wake-up call finding out what Izuku really is, or who he is, and how he has won for all. So he will never go down the exact same path as what Endeavor did to his family. But regardless, though, he still does need to learn how to kind of work on his attitude, and I think Endeavor will make him realize what he needs to work on and how he needs to present himself to the public. So I do think that it seems simple, but it's definitely, I think, one of the harder things to probably be able to accomplish because it's integrated into Bakugo's character to be like he is. So that's definitely going to be a very big challenge for him to overcome, to be able to have a better public view, like people to view him in a public eye. But the next character is Todoroki. No, this one is a fascinating one because personally, when you think about all three quirks right now in terms of capabilities, Todoroki's pretty strong. Like, he's pretty much, like, he has no flaw with his quirk, like Izuku or even Bakugo. He doesn't really have a flaw. And the reason why I say that is because when you think about Endeavor, his flaw is that his body superheats. And so, as he continues to use his quirk, he gets hotter and hotter. But Todoroki, since he has his ice side, he's able to cool himself. And it's vice versa. If he uses too much ice, he'll freeze too, but thanks to having both sides, he's able to regulate his body temperature to where he doesn't get too cold or too hot, and he's able to make something even stronger than what Endeavor is capable of with his ultimate finisher move. So, at this point in time, Todoroki is pretty much, I think, the strongest out of the three, right now. Until Izuku and Bakugo get a lot stronger and learn how to use their quirks better and their fighting style, etc. But right now, I would say in terms of capabilities, I think Todoroki's probably the strongest because of just what his quirk is currently capable of. And if he can really master the art of using what his father did and use both sides and not neglect either side, he would be such a formidable opponent. It would be a scary opponent. I don't really know how you could fight someone like Todoroki. I mean, I could definitely see, you know, Dabi and also Getten. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Getten or whatever. You know, the ice character we had in the My Villain Academia arc. I could definitely see those two individuals having to team up against Todoroki. Since Todoroki has ice and fire, I could see both of them working against Todoroki at once to be able to bring him down just because of how strong he really is, you know, manipulating ice and fire. But, the big point there is not more of, like, self-analyzing. Well, it is, but it's mainly about Todoroki just being straight up with his father. He's like, look, Endeavor. He even calls him by the #1 hero. He doesn't really even call him father in the entire topic, basically letting him straight up know that I still have not forgiven you. I have not, you know, forgiven you for everything you have done. Right now, I'm kind of using you as a tool to push me forward as a hero, and I want to kind of see how the #1 hero works. So, don't treat me like a, your son. Treat me like you would treat your sidekicks. Treat me how you would treat, you know, newcomers to Hero Society. That's basically what he was trying to say to his father, and he's like, stop pulling the father-son crap. I want to, you know, actually experience what this internship is supposed to be, which I think is perfect because he needs to experience it. He needs to understand what it means to be a hero and see how the #1 hero works as well. So, it's a big deal, and I do like how Endeavor realized that it was kind of foolish of him to believe that his son forgave him at this point and was able to move on. It's not something you easily move past, and, you know, there's progression, but he still is yet to open up his heart to his father, and Endeavor obviously has realized that. But that's pretty much the chapter. It's a good chapter. It's a hell of a good chapter of My Hero Academia. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen next. I cannot wait to see how the characters progress and how they overcome their flaws, etc. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.